one. Welcome in TNCRadio.live Friday night. Happy to have you with us here. It's a Driver Nation. We put away all the trucker stuff when we talk about all things in the gig economy. And I'm joined here with Steve. Hey, Steve, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you, Tom?
And I'm also with Gary. Gary, how are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Oh, doing fantastic. Hey, guys, earlier today, I happened to tune in to this Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. Have you guys seen this yet?
No. What is that?
Yes, I did. I did watch it. Yeah.
So I watched it, and I'm sitting there, I'm looking at Kevin Bacon, and I'm thinking, dang, he just really totally reminds me of somebody. Who was it that he reminds me of? And I kept looking at it and kept looking at it. And then it finally it occurs to me who he looks like. So let's see, how do I share content here? Present, share screen, screen one.
This is not the first time, and I don't even know what he's gonna do. Watch.
Yeah.
Dude, I honestly, Tom, no joke. I've actually been approached by people.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, not often, but like, you know, in
Totally.
those kind of cities, like people have been like, "Oh, I thought you were Kevin Bacon."
Yeah, I mean, wow. I mean, yeah. I see.
Dad.
It's
a very, very close resemblance.
Those of you who are on the radio side, you can't see the picture, but sometime you'll just have to take a look at Kevin Bacon. That's what Steve looks like. I look
less hair though.
Yeah, I look like Jerry. I look like Jerry Garcia from
yeah, you do.
The Grateful Dead, and Gary looks like who does Gary look like? Who do you look like, Gary?
Myself.
That's a really healthy answer, by the way.
Yeah, that's a good answer. So yeah, good. So anyway, saw that, had to share it. It just was.
You know, as soon as you said Kevin Bacon, I was like, I don't even know if Gary knew what you were going to do. I instantly knew what you were doing.
Yeah,
I was like, this has happened to me before.
Yeah,
like, oddly, a number of times.
Yeah, as soon as they started talking about it, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Okay.
I just tell people I'm a stunt double.
Okay, well, that's good. Hey, you could be a stunt double, especially if he was doing a skiing movie, right?
Just any. I mean, I'm kind of a adventure enthusiast, so yeah, it could be a stunt double.
Yeah, well, we ought to do a movie where, because he knows,
or he could be my stunt double.
He did like none of the dancing in Dirty Dancing. You know that scene where he's out in the barn.
You mean Footloose?
Oh yeah, Footloose. Yeah,
Footloose. Yeah,
the barn when he's flipping around and all that. That's not him. He didn't do any of that. Yeah,
well, I mean, shocker.
Yeah. So,
but I gotta say, I like Kevin Bacon though too.
Oh yeah.
Not just because he's related to me, but
yeah, and 6 degrees, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, and you're not more than 6 degrees from any of us.
Okay, well maybe I am. Maybe I'm more than 6 degrees from Kevin Bacon. Well, I guess it's just it's 6 degrees from anybody though, is what it is.
I just had you two next to each other. Yeah, I know. But see, it's 6 degrees within film too. It's how close can you find Kevin Bacon to the star that that you want to get him next to. So,
yeah, we got to do something where maybe we use an image sometime in the show that has you next to Garcia, me next to Kevin Bacon, and we'll have to find Gary's.
Yeah, we got to find Gary's.
We got to find Gary's doppelganger, his Hollywood doppelganger.
So those of you watching on YouTube, which is an option, if you're not out driving and you're listening to us on TNCRadio.live, that's great. But if you're at home, look at us. So tell me, who does Gary look like, guys? You guys are going to have to think about that a little bit and let us
all.
Hey,
while they're thinking, before we jump into any of the main topics, tomorrow night is the premiere of Simp, Tremaine Hayhoe's movie.
Oh, great.
He was on the news today in Sacramento.
Cool.
And it's a cool little thing. He's up on his channel. I'm pretty sure that I'm still I think I'm whitelisted for the channel, but I don't know if it's for that video we did. But
I see.
It was. It's a nice little 3-minute thing where he's kind of he's totally Tremaine. He's loud. He's all up in there, and he's like, yeah, and they're like, are you excited about tonight? He's like, I'm excited about after tonight. He's like, this is nothing. Wait till you see what I do next. Like he was just on fire, man. I loved it.
Good for him. Good for him. So yeah, we're gonna have to figure out who Gary looks like. It's not going to be easy because it's not obvious.
Let me shout out to the chat here real quick, and then because we got the radio people. I'm just shouting out to if you on the YouTube side, just a couple people here. What's up, Rideshare Lisa? What's up, Josh B? What's up, Music City? What's up, Red? What is up, Chris from Real Rideshare Stories? And Donna, what's up, Donna? And hey, Janet, how are you? And you're coming in from Facebook. How are you? And hey, Ceci, how are you? Oh my gosh, we're getting Janet, by the way, you guys, lives in New Zealand and does Uber.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
In New Zealand, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I got a few New Zealand users down there.
Well, Janet,
yeah.
Janet, you might like Gary's apps quite a bit.
Yeah, Maximo's a big thing in New Zealand and Australia.
Janet, can you put in the chat which apps you do? It's been a minute and I forget.
Well, I support all apps in
right,
New
but
Zealand
they have
and
one of those
Australia.
like Dottie or something. Is there? Right?
They got Diddy, Ola,
and Ola. That's the one I was surprised was there. I thought that was more South America.
Right, and Maximus actually supports both of those as well.
Yeah, yeah. So nobody could think of anybody that Gary looks like for real.
Yeah, that's interesting.
The first thing that's coming to my mind, and I don't have the name, is it's a country singer. That's all I can think of. It's a country singer, and I don't.
Well, I do have somebody in mind. Let me pull this up. And
is that because I'm chunky?
No. It's the face. I just can't think of who it is. I thought Tom might even, when he heard me say that, go.
Yeah, it didn't jump out at me, but here it is.
Josh says Bubba Sparks, but I looked up Bubba Sparks and he looks like an idiot.
Yeah,
so it definitely can't be me.
Ceci, who does Gary look like? Gary looks like Radar O'Reilly's what Janet in New Zealand says.
Oh no. Radar was too much of a nerd. Yeah. Well, Steve, you said
Radar was the smartest one in the whole bunch.
True. But look, to show you about 6 years ago or so, when I was still in the world of IT, I had some people drop by, a couple of girls who were responsible to bring me additional independent consultants and independent contractors to help work with the company that I was taking care of their IT, a large oil and gas company. And they said to me, well, how's Wayne working out? And I said, oh, Wayne's awesome. He's my Radar. And they kind of looked at each other funny. I said, Radar from MASH. And they looked at me funny. And one of them finally says, is that the one with the helicopters?
No, it's the one with the war.
What? That's all you know about MASH is it's the one with the helicopter?
That just means they remember the intro.
They were so young. They didn't eat. They had no clue really what MASH was. They'd never really seen it. It was the one with the helicopters. I was blown away.
Dang, I didn't even notice it's about my brother. He does. I just looked at his picture. I was like, oh yeah, he does. My brother looks like that guy.
That doesn't. Oh wait. Oh.
No, my brother looks like the guy from Full Metal Jacket. Yeah, I didn't even notice it until she said it. Now I pulled up.
Oh my gosh! Oh, that's bad.
Hey Donna, you'd be a good one to say. Who does Gary look like? And don't say Gary because he already said that.
I already said I look like Gary. I'm unique. Unique.
No, I got it. I just got to pull up the right picture.
Dude, everybody has a doppelganger. You do. Or
Yep.
like, close.
Let's see.
At least it's not Kevin Bacon.
Dude, I was in Target the other day. And I mean, like, I kept looking to make sure, and I was looking back behind me. I kept looking to make sure, and my old landlord was behind me, and I'm thinking, okay, that's her, right? That's her. And I look, and I'm like, and I like literally yelled her name, and she's the cart behind me at the checkout, like waiting for me to move forward. And then she didn't look, and I'm like, I'm still sure it's her. So I yelled it again. And she just kind of like, without even looking at me, turned away and grabbed a magazine. I could tell she didn't even want to get the magazine. She just was freaked out that I was looking at her and yelling. So I'm like, it's not her, because she would have responded. Anyway, I scared the piss out of her, I think. But yeah, we got some things to talk about tonight.
All right,
we always do, but so I want to start because we don't need to spend obviously the whole thing on this. But the independent contractor deadline to submit comments on the notice of the proposed rulemaking change has moved. There's still a couple more days, you guys. It's December 13th. They gave it an extension of days. I guess Kim Cavan, who I always say knows all this stuff, I said, well, it's 30 days from now when we did an interview, and she's like, most likely that'll get extended 4 to 6 days. It was extended 5 days. I was amazed that, like, how does the lady know this stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you think? I mean, let's go to Vegas, Kim.
Well, this is not her first right around the block here.
I know, I'm just amazed. But anyway, so lots of articles out, and we can go through them if we have time later, but like, just let me and I have an article on each one of these 3 things, but then there's a lot more too about a few.
That's Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith. What is he?
He's director, producer. He did the Clerk series. He's done a lot of different things.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In my so I mean, he looks like Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith always wears a ball cap too, but then I found one picture without him.
He's Jay and Silent Bob, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Bob, right?
Yeah. So
that's
Kevin Smith. How about that?
Oh, nice. A few affected careers. These are now in Washington State, Massachusetts, still in this is for January 1st, potentially Pennsylvania, potentially Minnesota. Musicians will have to have contracts to work. Home-based healthcare will have to have contracts to work and unionized.
Say again where this is.
Washington State, which we knew was going, Massachusetts, which we knew was going, but then it could be in Pennsylvania and Minnesota as well, because they're really trying to push them through here at the last minute. But here's a big one that's going to really flip people out. Pro golfers, and there's no way around it. Because I don't know too many PGA Tour masters that make that kind of money who are just going to be, okay, I'll just quit.
All right.
They're going to say, sorry, I'm going to keep playing. And golfers are worldwide. So what? They're going to have to play in other countries?
Okay, so there's 2 types of pro golfers. So are you talking about touring?
It listed it as all PGA players.
That doesn't make any sense, because
they're independent contractors.
No, some of them are employees of a country club. There are teaching pros and there's playing pros, and they're both part of the PGA. How are you going to separate which one's which? Because a lot of people do both.
But the Mickelsons and the big guys, they don't get a W-2.
No, they get prize money.
Right, and because of that, and speaking of that, poker players, even professional, are going to be on there.
Wait a minute now.
Tom's like, whoa, let's back the truck up.
I mean, unless like, here's how it would work out from all the stuff we've been, and I haven't even been discussing that, but like poker players, unless they have an actual one single sponsor who does give them a W-2.
Actually, there's quite a few that do that.
Yeah, I know there are. That's why I said that might.
Basically, all of their stuff is staked, and they work in. So any winnings go back to the company,
Right.
And it's worked out in
Right, exactly. And whatever's on top, they split. And
yeah.
I know a couple of whatever you'd call it, amateur pro, that work on much, not the World Series of Poker type money, but work on much higher levels than I would gamble, and are very good and sit up. And I know you play too, Tom, but I just found this crazy because this was just at a base level dissection, finding a few. And when I was looking, I saw at least 15 others. I just didn't have the time to jump in. The home base
unionize poker players. They're going to unionize poker players. I want to see that.
I don't know what they're going to do.
They're trying to unionize everybody.
I'm part of the Poker 155 Local 387.
We're striking.
I'm not playing anything worse than a pair of jacks for the next 2 weeks. I refuse.
Right, you see the first few cards and you don't fold. You're like, I'm on strike.
I'm not going to fold it. I'm not going to bet it. I'm just going to sit here. I'm on strike. What are you going to do about it?
What I'm going to do about it, and what everybody should do about it, is go to driverrights.org. Not kidding, you guys. We have over 60,000 signatures. Go to driverrights.org. Put your email in. You don't have to do anything more than that. But if you do want to, because I get a lot of emails, you guys, about this stuff, there is a way to have a form filled out and submit it to your congressman. We now have lawyers. We have state House members and Congress from like 5 or 6 different states. We've got 4 or 5 lawyers who are donating the time to that. So this is not the Instacart strikes that have like 1,000 people across the country tops. I think that's even being nice. But this is 60,000 signatures since April. So they're probably very active still. These aren't 3-year-old signatures. These since April.
Right.
And now we've got big guns behind it. So this is the closest thing to a movement that might help. And again, it's not a strike. It's not, let's have minimum wage. We don't want that. All we're asking for is flexibility. Keep the flexibility and full transparency. Data's yours. And don't direct me in my work kind of thing. It's not even like we're asking for all the factors of independent contractorship. We're just saying like, these are a must. And the transparency one is huge. So anyway, go sign that, you guys, because we're all going to find in the new year that there's going to be a lot of weird stuff going on. I said last night on the roundtable, I know, Gary, you weren't there, but I said that, 2023 is going to be an awesome year. I said, but for gig workers, I said, start watching, get on more apps. Like we always tell people to multi-app and whatnot, but don't sit on just Uber, because if you do, and Uber does a background check on a guy who has a spelling of your name with a different letter or the same name, and they accidentally deactivate you, there's no longer a course there's no longer any recourse. Even lawyers who used to help don't do it anymore. If you get deactivated, you're finished, period. There's nothing you can do. There's nobody you can get on the phone. I mean,
I wouldn't say there's
16,
nothing
17,
you could do.
Yeah, but dude, like even
I wouldn't say there's nothing to do. You can go to arbitration if you didn't opt out. You can do that
if you didn't opt out.
Right. And you can still sue them even if you did opt out. I mean, it doesn't overturn anything, and it's going to be a more lengthy, costly process. But
I was just going to say the problem is gig workers don't have that.
Right.
It would take a lot of money.
Right. I'm just saying to say nothing.
Well, right, but you're not going to go spend $15,000 on a lawyer to take on Uber and hope you win to get an Uber driving job back. It's not going to happen.
Hey guys, I missed a break on the radio side, so I need to do that real quick. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back here on TNCRadio.live. Stay right there. Sorry.
It's all right.
Steve not paying attention to the time.
I don't know when the breaks are now.
Aren't they every 15 minutes?
No, I stretched them out to like 20 minutes now.
Every 20 minutes.
So okay, so one at 20 to the hour then.
Is
that just
yeah, roughly?
Okay. So it's 20 after, 40 after, and then on the hour.
Yeah, something like that. It's close to that.
Okay.
Let's see what I have this set to. I'll have to tell you next time the break comes up.
Hey, Chris, how are you? I see you've joined us. You got anyone from PA?
I think he's asking if anybody's from PA's signed that petition.
Oh, a ton. Yeah. I mean, at least 5,000 plus. I think Philadelphia alone, we had 5,000 plus. Because that was one of the bigger cities, in fact, because they're very concerned.
The break time is 16:46. That's how long the segments are now. 16:46.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Coming back in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back in TNCRadio.live. Happy to have you with us here on a Friday night where we're talking all things gig economy. I'm joined tonight by Steve and Gary. Always happy to have you guys along. We got lots of things we're talking about, lots going on. Driversrights.org, driversrights.org. So, Steve, I'm giving myself a deadline. By this time next Friday, I'm going to have running on our station an ongoing commercial, if you will, about driversrights.org. I've also, while we've been talking, have reached out to the president of the North America Driver Resource Association, which is a new truckers group where is led by truckers and managed by truckers and the whole bit, that are obviously impacted by the same kind of thing, and asking them to reach out to you guys. You guys should be buds. The two groups should be shaking hands with each other because you have the same concerns. And so as they're continuing to grow, they've grown very, very quickly. Thousands of people in the last couple of weeks have joined, and the president of that group is now a host on one of our shows on Thursday nights. So,
yeah, for sure. I mean, we always talk to people, like, as long as they're not, even if they're on the fence and not really sure where they stand, we want to talk to them. But if the only people we don't want to even talk to is union, if you're even hinting at, you think unions are good, then don't even talk to us.
Yeah.
Not. And I mean, like, I'm going to point out something. We have the people who do those, Gary and I joke and call it a day off when they do the platform strikes. Cause I hate those, you guys. And not just because they don't do anything, but because I think they do something. I think that they show the platforms how much strength they have over the worker, because they're like, okay, that big strike they've been planning is tomorrow. Let's get ready and see what happens. And then not even a hiccup in the system.
Nothing.
And they're like, this is the best they can do. This is their organized attempt. Great. So I think that doing those is actually, I'm going to say this, I think that doing those is actually harmful. The
last two that, when I was still driving, I haven't driven for a while, but the last two that I saw, I found out about the day after.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, did you do the strike this week? What strike? I didn't know about it. Sorry. Nobody
and that's
told me.
The other thing. Me, you, and Gary, and probably a lot of the people in chat, probably some of the listeners on the radio, we understand that. But like most people who do these, I mean, first of all, we already know 85% do 14 hours or less a week. So that 85% it doesn't make mainstream media. They don't see it. It's not even the next day they hear about it. They probably never hear about it.
What else? I was going to say that too. There's probably more people concerned with striking than not. You know what I mean? Like 85% of people don't care about striking because they work, 14 hours or less per week. So they're like, whatever, you guys go strike. I don't care to strike.
I don't know. It's just crazy to me. This story is going to kill you guys, and on a couple levels. At first, it's going to seem like one of those surface level, oh, that happened, what happened? But wait till you hear the ending of this. But it is pretty nasty from the beginning. We talked about it a little bit last night. I'll keep it a little short because I see a couple people in here that heard it. But Detroit, Popeyes. And this is the third time. I looked into it. The third time that they've had this issue. This DoorDash driver went into Popeyes in Detroit and saw cockroaches crawling over the straws, over the counter, over this, that, the other, and people were just working like no big deal. What about them? Like kind of thing. Like, and she's like, what the hell? And so she told one of the ladies, and I mean, literally, she told one of the ladies that this was happening, and the lady who was working there took her shoe off and started
smacking it. What?
And I was like, dude, you know, where there's one, there's a billion.
Right.
So, I mean, you don't go green when you kill these things. You call the people with the most toxic crap, or else you light the building on fire, one or the other.
That's right. Right.
But anyway, she calls the health department. Most drivers might not. Most drivers might just have unassigned or whatever, but she calls the health department, makes a big deal of it. They're shut down right now. There's a whole thing going on. And here's the kicker, though, of the story, you guys. DoorDash, she called DoorDash to tell them. They made her make the delivery.
Oh, no, I would have let the customer know.
She did.
Yeah,
she did when she got there, and then she said that she saw the customer throw it away.
No, I would have told the customer while I was in the store, hey, there's cockroaches.
Here's my point. She told DoorDash there's a cockroach infestation here. This food can't be eaten. And they said, well, you have to take it.
That's an idiot at DoorDash. I mean, I can't believe that's coming.
But I'm sorry, that's not something that she should answer then.
Well, yeah. But
there's a time to get a supervisor, you know, if keyword. Well, I mean, we all know what a cockroach is. I don't care where you're from.
Yeah, but we've talked about this before, though.
Hippos.
We've talked about the customer support before, though. They're all typically overseas. They don't really care.
Right.
You know, they're just
like Zach says. If he hears a goat or a rooster, he hangs up because he knows that call ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, like me knowing DoorDash isn't going to do anything about it, I would have immediately told the customer while I was in the store. Like, probably taking pictures of it too.
Damn, Arturo.
That's the Louisiana. He says that's the Louisiana finger looking good recipe.
By the way, Arturo and I are doing a Christmas Eve special. So Christmas is on Sunday. Christmas Eve is on Saturday. That Friday is the 23rd. And on 12/23 a year ago, we did it. We did the same thing, but we did it more just us. And it'll be us, but it'll be a little more interactive and positive and fun. And come on by, everybody.
Just tell me we don't have to bring a white elephant gift because I hate those things.
But Arturo, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that so much. But yeah, gross, right? I mean, just extremely gross.
Yeah, that's just completely nasty. I mean, here's the thing that we've always said, you know, if you've ever worked in a kitchen, you know how nasty the kitchens are, you know, but there's nasty and then there's just plain disgusting. This is just plain disgusting.
Disgusting, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
because I mean, there's dirty kitchens and then there's just like infestations should never happen. Never. And if they are, they should be completely shut down the first day.
Josh, DoorDash's script didn't have cockroach issues. She's like, flip it. I don't see it. Just deliver it.
Right.
Because here was one of the things we pointed out last night was, why did the person even put it in her car?
Well, see, I would be concerned about that too because
if you get one,
what if there's one cockroach in that bag?
Then all of a sudden, because now you get 1 million in your car.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
it really. We know that everything multiplies, and some bugs at high rates, but cockroaches multiply crazy.
This also on the workers though. How nasty do you have to be to work around that all the time and not have it affect you? Like if I was
And
working
why
somewhere
in Detroit does this keep happening? Why has this happened 3 times in Detroit? Like they're working with them like they're their pets?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, how nasty is that? Like, if I show up to work and there's an infestation of cockroaches, I'm gonna quit.
Right. Can I have a bucket of chicken and
Yeah.
can I get some of that
No.
special sauce on top?
Oh my gosh.
Can you give me some cockroaches with that?
You know, when they run out of things to deep fry, they just
Deep fried chocolate covered cockroach.
the cockroaches probably lived through that though. They'd probably come out pissed off and deep fried.
I couldn't imagine it, man. I just
Oh my god, it's so gross. There's some video out there, so you guys, if you want to go look it up, I actually put a link in last night's stream in the show notes. I put a link to the video.
Is there a link on it to on RideshareRodeo.com as well?
What do you mean?
Is there a link to the story or video? Or
I don't remember. It's links to the story in the Free Press in Detroit. I don't know if I actually linked to the video that I found, but I think that might have come from that. It's just gross. So, and then Tom, this one's for you. It's quick. We were talking about India last week. You said that you had some friends over there and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Here's a good article. So, a country, you know, I'm not going to dog on the U.S., but right now I'm a little pissed off. But India is acknowledging that their gig force will grow 9 to 11 million people by 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So, damn, Tom.
I'm not going to be done. 9. Come on, I'm gonna. I can't let Arturo get in there and kick. Beat that Arturo. Come on. I'm telling somebody to beat the 50. Let's go. I'm throwing down right now.
That's his poker stepping in.
Game. He raised you. He prices right you.
I did raise
$49.99. I'll take 50, Bob.
Yeah. Not gonna put up with that.
But yeah, and then I mean, so let's see, time wise, let's save the Uber stuff for after because there's a lot of Uber stuff that's just really upsetting. Health Jobs Plus. I like this. And Gary, I think that you would like this too. When I was reading it, I don't exactly remember what I was thinking. I was thinking about you when I was reading it a couple points because it was, well, basically it's is already unique in the industry for its proprietary bid counterbid functionality that enables employers and contractors to bypass costly middlemen or apps by directly negotiating with each other to establish the right price for the right gig. The company is rolling out another game changer function, which will enable users to get matched for gigs at a hyper granular level via a hashtag system. That's what I wanted to know from you, Arturo.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
What is hyper granular level and what, like,
getting down to the real small details?
Right. I mean, basically, if I had to put it in filter terms, you're basically filtering out everything.
But hyper granular via a hashtag system?
I don't know. I'm trying to look up the story here and see what it says.
It's in you have it, right?
Yeah, I have it right here. I'm reading it real quick. And so yeah, I don't know what they're going to be hashtag. I mean, what do you do? Just like send a hashtag?
Maybe text? You put in hashtags of all like your skills.
Yeah, that's maybe. I mean, it is for healthcare, right?
I don't know. I mean, I thought so too, and even by the look of it, blue plus the orange plus kind of gives that medical.
Yeah,
look.
well, because it
says professionals.
It says health gig jobs is what it says.
Right. Yeah.
So
I mean,
it says right here the hashtag system enables workers to leverage their unique interest and proficiency so that they can earn income doing what they love to do most and get paid on their terms. So I'm guessing that's what they're going to do is put in what they want to do. Like I'm not familiar with healthcare stuff and exactly
Yeah,
what
I'm
it
looking
all
at some of the
entails,
examples,
so,
like if you speak a certain language.
so you'd
Um,
hashtag like Spanish,
Yeah, or if you're
you know.
proficient doing injections or have expertise in diabetes management, things like that. So that's pretty cool though, because I already liked these healthcare apps to begin with. I think they're like
Right.
even the ones that were just assigning nurses to let them travel after the pandemic and like kind of allow them to work wherever they go, kind of thing. And nurses are always needed. But this is cool. I like this.
I like it too. I think that they could probably do it a better way than hashtags.
No, but
Yeah.
I mean, I like it because, man, it takes a lot of hands out of, or it takes a lot of work out of administrators or, all the paperwork people at the hospital, trying to figure out, well, okay, this person's here and they get a raise, and they know all this, and this, and they've been training under this person. But if another person comes in, not to like shortcut that person, but if they already have a ton of skills and that hospital needs those, they might not ever know that person
Right.
has those skills without something like this.
Well, I know a lot of hospitals are switching to a schedule type system, but not for their specific hospital. Like I got a friend, she's an X-ray tech, and she can actually go into her whatever system they use, and she can schedule different hospitals that she wants to work at, or different facilities, let's say, that she wants to go work at, as long as they're all owned by, I think they all have to be owned by the same corporation. But say, most hospitals, they have, at least 3 locations, and you can go in there and pick the locations you want to work at and the hours and things like that. And then they put out these schedules. And then some of them actually pay more because they'll put a bonus on top of that, kind of like peak pay. They'd be like, hey, we don't have anybody to fill Saturday 12-hour shift. We're going to give you an extra $20 an hour to do that shift. And then they get stuff filled quicker. So the medical field's actually advancing pretty quickly as far as technology and trying to get people to work on a flexible schedule. So that's always good.
Oh.
I'm still very concerned, Steve, back to your story you were talking about a few minutes ago, and you're talking about Washington and Massachusetts and others, and this idea of home healthcare workers. Look, we just lost my brother-in-law a few months back. I don't know what we would have done the last few years without the home healthcare that we had coming in here. It was super expensive as is. They start putting these people in basically unions and raising the price. How are people supposed to take care of that? It's not covered by insurance.
No, and also the workers too. The workers aren't going to want to do it because these independent contractors develop bonds with these people, and
Absolutely.
they're not going to want unions in their pockets taking that little bit more money that they just don't have.
Right.
They're not maybe living day to day, but they're not living fat either,
No, but I mean, it's talk about a place where we really don't need any interference from anybody. I'm paying somebody to come in here and sit with my brother-in-law all day long.
Mm-hmm.
How much I pay them and everything, as long as she's happy, as long as I'm happy, as long as it's all working. Look, and doing stuff that nobody on this call wants to be doing. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nobody. All right. And willing to do it. And we've got an agreed upon. Everybody else get out of our way. It's none of your business.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think a lot of times though, they want to get involved because they're not getting a piece of the pie though, right?
This is what I'm saying.
Right, but but the same people doing this are the ones who are saying we're going to get you a better healthcare system.
No,
this is not a good start. This is not a good start, guys.
Well, that's because they have to promise something to take other things away. That's how the government, everybody works. They have to promise you so they can take away.
Taking away how we care for elders is not a good start.
Well, it's not just elders. It could be children. I mean, there are a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people who, I'm doing this for a living. I got other things going on. I can't stay in the room with my brother-in-law. And like I said, he's passed now, but I couldn't sit in there all day long. Just, we had to have somebody sit there next to him all day long, feed him, change him, bathe him, all of those kinds of things. And, it's a horrible, hard job. I don't, as long as we're happy with who we have in there and they're happy with what I'm paying them and all. I don't need anybody else involved in that. But yet here comes some others who want to jump in.
Chris is a Patreon member of mine. Thank you, Chris, for that, by the way. Chris is also a pediatric oncology nurse, 120 an hour to work on mercy ships.
Wow.
And insurance does pay a percentage of home health care, but
yeah,
but Chris, I mean, do you think it's a good portion? Because I don't know. I mean, you probably know better than us, but I know a lot of healthcare workers sometimes really just don't want to know and really don't know about the cost. They do somewhat, but they just know it's high.
What we needed is not the same thing. Mm-hmm. We've got in the nurses but they're only for a limited amount of time. They only did a limited amount of stuff. I'm talking about the day-to-day, day in, day out, the insurance going through the VA, which is what we had to do. Not acceptable.
Yeah, he needed a caretaker, basically.
Right.
Which is...
Yeah, Joe just put it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Hey, I got to take a break on the radio side. We're going to be back in just a minute. You're listening to TNCRadio.live Friday night, talking about all things in the gig economy. You're welcome to join us. Call us at 706-862-8620. That's 706-TNC0. Love to have your phone calls, so jump right in. We'll be back in just a minute. TNCRadio.live, Driver Nation. Stay tuned.
I'm trying to Google what a mercy ship is.
Hit that like, y'all. Help us out here. Get us in the algorithmic game. I think the mercy ships aren't they the ones that pull up to like third world countries and stuff and do all the stuff on the boat? I thought, or if it's not mercy ship, there is a couple
you're actually right, Steve.
Thank you.
Yeah, for once. That's what it says here.
Even a blind squirrel.
I know. I mean, you throw a handful of pellets at a window, you're gonna break something, huh?
Exactly. Yeah.
But no, I've seen those. I mean, because like those are because I thought those were really cool because I know that they like chopper in and drop things. Sometimes I'm always like, how do these people know what to do with all this stuff? I know they have some people on the ground who know what they're doing, but it's like,
right.
I always thought that's crazy, and then that's pretty cool. Those mercy ships.
Mm-hmm.
Watch it, Josh. I had you put on Curry. I'll have you pulled off.
Got connections.
That was my bend on a Bill Cosby joke for those of you who are young.
Brought you into this world and I can take you out.
Yes, sir. But yeah, it's just a mess. I can't believe that, this is California all over again. Okay, let's start carving out.
Be right back.
Yeah.
Like really? Because I don't know, like I don't, who's going to get the carve outs? Doctors, lawyers, anesthesiologists, same, and it's going to be the same pecking order, and then the biggest groups so that they can whittle down the fighters. I'm really looking forward to 2023, but it's only because I think that I am lucky to work with Gary, work with the guys at Para, to know how hard we're fighting to make things right. And, like we did a test last night that we should do in the second half of the radio show tonight, which was the 10 things that you must have the ability to do to be called an independent contractor. This isn't the IRS test. It's not the Barilla test. It's not the ABC test. It's not Dynamex. This is just what you have to be an independent contractor.
According to whom?
According to a $700 an hour lawyer, but in California. But we have the document too. I'm pulling it up right now. Because Para has a couple lawyers right now for everything going on. But yeah, so according to, and we've looked at a few, but the bottom line is they're all the standard independent contractor law.
Okay.
So,
Are we back on the radio yet? No.
No, not yet. Another minute.
Oh, okay.
This is our longer break.
So do we still take one at the top of the hour too in 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you. And Chris, I don't know if you haven't checked, you should go to the Patreon page. I've been putting up some things, and I've started the. I haven't posted one yet, but I've started making some dumpling content. So,
yeah, how did that go?
2 clients now. Only. I mean, I said I wasn't. I told you I wasn't even going to build a second client before the new year, but I got 2 now. And it went well, man. I mean, you set your own price. You can do the ways that you can price it out are so great. And I ended up going with the percentage because I thought I was going to do the flat rate and then hope on the tip. But I liked the flow screen feel better with 15% of the grocery total.
Right.
By the way, on dumpling, grocery prices are exactly what they are in the store.
Wow.
Digital coupons, everything applies. So everything gets their money off. So whatever the total is, 15% of the grocery total is my fee. And then the next flow screen suggests 8% to tip me, but then it has different denominator. You can go down to 6, 10, or 12 or other. And so I liked that better because I think that, the first time somebody might go, okay, 15, that's a good price. Let me try this.
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back in TNCRadio.live. It's Friday night. It's Driver Nation. Happy to have you in with us tonight. Got a few more minutes before we get to the top of the hour. We're talking with Steve and Gary about all things regarding the gig economy. Steve, throw out a subject here for us that we can do in less than 10 minutes.
Well, we can talk about dumpling here for a quick second.
Yeah, it's about dumpling.
Okay, so
for those who are listening and maybe it's hard
to take it from the beginning.
I know you know all of these. A lot of us don't know all of these. So back up a little bit. Tell us, what is dumpling?
So dumpling is, and Gary, feel free to jump in if you have a thing to say about the platform itself too. But so dumpling is truly, I mean, there might be a couple others, but truly the only independent contractor app I know. Like true, there's no debating it because they don't feed you clients. They don't do anything, but they don't take a lot of money. They give you the platform. They give you a credit card from them. You can have the amounts extended. You can do shops. You can do shops with lists. You can go to any store. You can make 10 stops for somebody. You can add other services. But it started off to fight Instacart because they were so sick of what Instacart was doing to people. So what dumpling does is if you hire me, I just had to set my prices. So you set them all yourself. Again, another independent contractor trade. I pick how much I'm going to charge. All of that. I got to land my clients, but I chose to go with the percentage. So
you have to find your clients. That's another. They're not given to you. There is a way through the dumpling app. I did see that people can randomly select you. But I believe most of the people that we've talked to with dumpling, they actually go out and find their clients, which makes you your own business and you market yourself.
Right. But then let's look at Matthew. Let's look at Matthew Tells. He's not one of the top 3 in the country. He's like the 6th or something, but he's one of the most fun. So I've had him on a couple times with Celeste and
shopping by the shore.
Yeah, and so those ones are in the top 5 dumpling shoppers, but Matt's just outside of it. He's in Chicago. He got 2 clients 3 years ago. He now can't take any more clients because those 2 referred him to all of his other clients.
Right, and Celeste actually had to hire more help because she was getting
Celeste
so many
turned
clients.
into a business,
right?
And
she expanded her business. She was already
she actually filed it as an S corp now.
Okay.
She has 2 employees. This is an opportunity to build a business. And if you're like, I don't just like doing groceries though, me neither. So I'm kind of
you
looking at
can't
this
you
as a
can
way
branch
to
out.
feel true independent contractor on a gig app, and then start seeing where I can implement some services. Because like Dumpling's okay with it. If you want to walk a dog, if the person, like, here's what happens if some of you don't know, is that like if you get a client on Dumpling, they've had a bad experience most likely on Instacart. Now you're going to be their shopper, and then when you shop for them that first time, they're like, wait, so you're going to be my shopper again? And you're like, I'll be your shopper every time. If you liked the service, I can be your shopper every time. So they can start giving you notes and feedback, and hey, when you see this, could you get this instead? And you can do, when you arrive, you can hit I've arrived. It sends them a message that says that he's doing your shop right now, kind of giving them a heads up to kind of pay attention to watch in case you have any questions, or because Instacart shoppers, if they can't find it, they just move on, and they didn't have it.
Right. They mark it as unavailable in the app, and then they move on. With I think with Dumpling, you get that more personal experience. You get the same shopper every time. They're gonna know what you like, what you don't like. They're not gonna like for example, whenever I use these apps, I order keto bread, and they always try to send me non-keto bread. At least with a personal shopper, they would know, hey, he's not going to accept anything else except for keto bread. So they would look for another keto bread.
Right. And so here's another thing too. Like, here's something that can get a little weird, is that like if a store had a sale or an item's gone or something. So let's say that somebody knows that the store that is by them, and I'm doing a shop by them. If they tell me they want this kind of honey, let's say they want a specific kind of honey. We've got tons in Colorado. So, I want this honey. Okay. Well, you get there and they don't, and the customer's like, I don't see it in the app. And you don't have to say, put another honey and I'll just get it, because that's weird, right? Like, don't do that. You can just put at the bottom which honey you want. And when I get there, I'll take pictures and we'll make sure I get you the right one. Because somebody might say, I'm sure they have it. I'm there every week. I don't know why it's not in the app.
I seen a comment. I don't know if it was on Celeste Facebook or whatever, but you also got to remember these personal shoppers through Dumpling are going to find you the best deals too. So if it's, buy two, get one free, unlike Instacart or something where they're going to have two in the app, not grab that third one for you, a personal shopper would grab that other one too.
Yeah.
So this gives you the chance, if you're the person doing the personal shopping, to manage it all yourself and take the time off when you want to take the time off, work, as you want to work. If you don't do a good job, people will drop you and go to somebody else.
Yep. Correct. So I've set up the hour blocks that I'm available, but that doesn't mean you can just pick one and like say, hey, next Tuesday at this, I want you to go do stuff. It's that you eventually will develop a relationship and start to have a day where you regularly do it for them. Sure. But you can put the blocks out there. I just put some minimal ones, and then I'm willing to work outside of them too. Like if somebody's like, hey, I know you don't do Saturday, but could you? And I probably wouldn't even charge more. And especially right now in the beginning, I would just be like, yeah, sure. Like that's not a day I'd normally work, but until we can find a day that works for you. Because that's me. I am a service industry person, and I know that when you get the opportunity, you take it. You don't screw around and go, no, I don't work on Saturday.
No,
I guess I fully understand now. It's just like Instacart.
No. Now, I did have a quick question about that, Steve. Since people are leery about opening up to true independent contractorship, does Dumpling provide coaching for new people?
Oh yeah. Yeah. In fact, Dumpling has Dumpling University. So in your first 90 days, you get that free. If you want to continue with that, you need to have the, I think it's $19.99 a month plan. And then there's a business plan too. And the differences are, and there's an enterprise. So if you're wondering what these plans are, like the enterprise is like $99 a month. However, it gets you 5 cards so that you can have 5 people working for you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Cool. And they can even be in different states, I found out. Like if I have a really good friend somewhere else, like you, Gary, like if you were like, I want to try it, I could send you a card on mine. I mean, I don't know. It really is true independent contractorship. And the way I priced mine out is I chose to go percentage and tip, and it seems to be working out great. I don't know what people complain about. I go in there, I get the items, I'm out in 30 minutes, and the pay is good.
Right.
Yep.
So if anybody's looking to sign up for this, you can check out more at dumpling.us.
Dumpling.us. All right. We'll talk more about that too on the other side. We're coming to the top of the hour. Take a break for a few minutes, check in with the news, all that kind of good stuff. You're listening to TNCRadio.live, Friday night, Driver Nation. Stay right there. All right. We're out on the radio side for about 6 minutes.
Oh, wow. I'm going to grab some water.
Okay.
So, Chris, yes, Holly does do a great job with Dumpling, by the way. And by the way, guys, send some prayers out and some love to Holly. Her son as I'm sure some of you know. I won't get into too many details for those who don't, but she has been dealing with some very, 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 very serious stuff for 2 years with her son, and he just underwent a liver transplant yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
So he's still in the, what is it, OR or?
No, he's probably in recovery now, but yeah.
Well, whatever. But it's like the 48 hours after is the real zone, and that's what it's in right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Chris, because Holly's a good friend of mine. I've actually met her in person. I met her at the St. Louis event, and she actually stayed at the Para House with all of us. So she was a lot of fun. And I communicate with Holly a lot. We text, we talk on the phone sometimes, and she's been really, really, and it was just, I guess this is always the way it happens. It was a total surprise. Things had been going really bad the last couple months with her son, and then out of nowhere, midnight call, hey, we got one, fly to Tampa or whatever. And I guess I can't even imagine, but I can only imagine that when that happens, you're like, like in such shock that I don't want to say it wrong, but that you maybe weren't even ever expecting to get one. I don't want to sound rude, or mean, or, but I honestly, I would think I would have that worry going, like, you're just kind of every day just hoping, and it's,
yep.
But,
and it's got to be a strange feeling too, because you don't get a liver unless somebody else dies.
Yeah, and she actually has already talked to the other family.
Wow.
Who lost their I think their child as well.
Wow.
So she and they're like all good, I mean, like they're just kind of all like going through this together. Like the other family's taking an interest in her son. It's
good.
So far so good. She texted me today. So far so good, and she gave me quite the breakdown. So, he's the operations happened. I guess Chris probably knows a lot more than me about this because she said ICU is probably where he is. But
yeah, I seen the pictures on Facebook.
Oh, I didn't even look. I've just been texting with her. And yeah, if you've ever seen Holly text, she texts really long texts.
Like double paragraphs stuck together.
Yeah, it's the way my son does it too. I'm sorry I can't do that. I just can't.
But I think when we come back, let's do this test of the independent contractor by the standard independent contractor law.
Okay.
Didn't we already do that once before?
Not like this, man. These are the 10 things. And
thanks.
We talked about it last night, actually, but we hadn't done it before.
All right. About a minute and a half to 2 out on the radio side. Let's see. 1, 2, 2 minutes.
And in the past 8 days, I've moved over 1,700 pounds of paint, almost a ton.
Wow.
A ton of paint. A lot of it? No, literally a ton. And by the way, guys, Sherman-Williams low jacks their paint buckets now. Paint is worth more than gold. So,
really,
yeah. I mean, he was like, the news center was just like, he's like, if you make a wrong turn because you're going to be going into, I'm like, I work Curry all the time. I know it's all new development. He's like, He's like, well, if you make a wrong turn, I'll call you because I got you GPS'd. I was like, the paint buckets are GPS.
Wow.
You know what happened? Somebody was stealing them.
Oh, sure.
That's what happened with them.
Right.
Or they was marking them delivered at some empty job site, and then they was taking them.
You know, a lot of these houses that I put them in, though, because you can't leave paint outside. A lot of them, the contractor isn't there or something yet. I just, I don't even knock. I just open the door. I don't know if you guys know that. Josh, I don't know if you know that. You've been doing a lot of curry. If you start getting those kind where you're going to new developments, just walk in.
Yeah, new developments, yes.
Yeah, just
still
go walk into somebody's house, dude.
Yeah, like don't worry, ma'am. I'm just here to deliver the paint. Painter,
right, I'm just talking about if you see that the garage door is open and everybody's unloading everything into the garage, though, don't do that. When you're doing paint, don't do it because it'll kill the paint.
All right, coming back in 10 seconds on the radio side. And here we go in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back in TNCRadio.live. This is Driver Nation. It's a Friday night. We're live, and we're talking all things gig economy. You can give us a call at 706-862-8620. We'd love to hear from you. That's TNC0. Give us a call and tell us what's on your mind tonight, whatever you'd like to talk about. I'm Tom. I'm here with Steve and Gary, and let's talk about Gary's apps. What are Gary's apps?
Oh, good question. I actually have a script for you today.
Oh,
Gary's
good.
apps is the destination apps to help gig workers be safer, more focused, and more proficient. Currently, I have 3 apps. I got the Maximo app, which is actually spelled Maxymo. A lot of people are misspelling that.
Or
so
look on the radio. Yeah.
What?
I was going to say look on your hat, but radio. Yeah.
Yeah, radio people. So a lot of people misspell that, so I wanted to spell it out. It actually helps Uber, Lyft, and Grubhub drivers by automatically switching between apps and turning them on or off as needed. For example, if you get a driver that accepts an Uber trip, Maximo will turn off all the other apps that are online, and whenever he or she completes that trip, it will turn everything back on for the driver. You can also auto accept or auto decline trips based off the driver's personal preferences that they set directly in Maximo. Then, of course, I have the driver's utility helper app, also known as Duh, which is similar to Maximo, but it is only for DoorDash drivers. It also has the auto accept and auto decline based off the driver's personal preferences. In addition, it can show the driver on-screen information, such as the per mile rate and how long until delivery is due, which will allow them to make a decision quicker when the request comes in. Then, of course, the final and last app I have for gig workers is Flex Alert, which is for Amazon Flex drivers. It actually takes the hassle out of tapping the screen for hours on end, which can be exhausting, by automatically tapping the refresh button for the driver and then alerting them when a new block appears. This way they can stay focused and more important tasks such as driving.
Fantastic. Can you send me that script, Gary?
I can.
Yeah,
it'd be great is if Bill read that for me.
That's exactly what I'm planning on doing, Steve. Thanks.
Ooh, that's
I thought I'd write out a script because he always asked me, and I'm fumbling through it.
Yeah.
To me, Gary,
this would be really cool. If Bill read that for you.
Yeah, we'll shorten it up a little bit, but yeah, that's the right idea.
He's got like the smooth voice. Yeah, he's got the radio voice.
You betcha. So yeah, thank you very much, Gary, and that helps a lot. We'll talk about Rideshare Rodeo here in a bit. But Steve, what do you have on your mind? You were talking about off air. You were talking about these 10 things to determine whether or not you're actually an independent contractor.
Yes. So this has been worked on with a couple of lawyers as well. But we're just going to talk about the bullet points. I'm not going to get into the notes that we have, but the 10 independent contractor risks taken from standard independent contractor law. So the first one is right to a contract. A business person without a legally binding contract with a client becomes exposed to abuse. A formal independent contractor agreement protects you by spelling out your duties within the parameters of a project and how much and when you get paid. It also designates you as an independent contractor instead of rather than an employee. We don't really have contracts. This is a messy point. We have I agree to the terms of service box, but here's one of the things that was brought up by the lawyer, which is going to get interesting as we move through this, is that the problem is the standard independent contractor law, the IRS law, how all these unfold, they're not meant to be bent. So anything that we go here forward, anything that conflicts with the terms of service in the apps, like number 6 will conflict with it huge. It's advertising. You have to have the right to do that. We'll get to that. But it's just, I'm going to point out this example is that in the terms of service, you can't do that. But this would override the terms of service. And that's what the lawyers told us. Because you can't make a term of service saying, I mean, I'm going to go, I don't even have a good example, but like you can't say, our terms of service say you can kill people. I mean, you can't override laws. You can't.
Right. Terms of service have to be within the bounds of the laws of the region, municipality, whatever that you're operating within.
So here's the first one, little sticky. Yeah. Right to control, little sticky too, but then they really get just bad. The essence of being in business for yourself puts you in control. Now your clients, if a client tries to control your business by telling you where, when, and how to work, you become an employee. So isn't that something that we face?
Say that one more time for me, please.
The essence of being in business for yourself puts you in control, not your clients. If a client tries to control your business by telling you where, when, and how to work, you become an employee.
No, I'm getting information from an app to tell me where my riders are available.
Okay, here's an example here's an example we had brought up though too. Even the upfront things that are happening, upfront pricing and seeing all the stuff. Let's say that. So, okay, here's the problem is, what if they change the destination because they're scamming the system a bit? Who's your client? Is it the person getting it, or is it the platform you're on?
To me, kind of both, really.
Exactly.
I mean, both of them.
Which causes a big problem.
Right, because like Uber's my client, I guess you could say, but then also the customer I'm picking up is a client as well.
But if you got audited at the end of a year, you can't get to the client.
Right. And that's the downside to it is, Uber's a middleman, or supposed to be the middleman for collecting payments. That's what they're supposed to be. That's what they market. They market as technology, things like that. So in the end, Uber's doing too much.
The person getting the service is the customer. Yeah, that's in theory, that sounds right. But
yeah,
the problem is yes, you can call them through the app, but really it's
as soon as that ride is over though, you have no way of contacting that customer again.
Or like reroutes. We've all had this happen, or if rideshare drivers have. If you're driving to pick up somebody and they assign it to somebody else and they're like, go pick up this guy instead. And you picked it up based on I want this ride. Now you're like, I don't know what this is. What is this?
Yeah, I've had them do that to me multiple times. Like they matched me with that person because I was the only available driver, but then someone closer became available and then they rerouted me. And then I unassign it. And of course, then I get tagged with unassigning a ride because I didn't agree to that ride.
Right. It's right to making decisions. Here's where we start getting a little stickier. While employees expect to follow orders from their bosses, independent contractors become their own bosses. Consider whoever hires you as your client and not your boss. Being an independent contractor provides you with the freedom to dictate where, when, and how a project gets completed. Remember, your clients do not direct your work. If they do, you become an employee, not an independent contractor. Clients hire you to complete a project while you maintain the freedom to decide how to conduct the project.
Well, see, in that thing, we do decide how we conduct it. Like they don't tell us how to pick up a passenger or how to drive to drop off the passenger. Same vice versa, food delivery, etc.
But they don't want you using third-party apps, and yet independent contractors can
Right.
use any tools available to them, any tools they choose. Like maybe somebody uses, something, and I come in with a pitchfork. I'm allowed to have that pitchfork because that's how I do it.
Pitchfork, passenger seat.
I'm just saying that,
Security.
like,
Yeah.
every other independent contractor job in the world, they can't say, why are you using that?
Well, we've had this conversation before
About this piece. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying about this piece that, it's a very thin line there. Third-party apps are third-party apps. They are what they are. Some connect in a way that they probably shouldn't, and things like that. But like if you hire a roofer, you don't go tell the roofer which nail gun to use or which tools to do the job to make your roof look good and function correctly. And none of these gig companies should do that either. It's no different than they give you the choice of Google or Waze for your maps. So why are you trying to tell me what other apps I can use at the same time?
Yes,
Right.
Yes and no on some of that. When you contract with a roofer, okay, one of the things that you're doing is you're picking from materials that are available to that roofer.
Right. Well, I was saying more like the nail guns. You don't tell them which nail guns to use.
Right.
And things like that. That's the tool. That's not the material. It's the tool.
Okay.
And third-party apps are tools. That's what they are.
Okay. So you're looking at this from an app perspective, correct? Right. Okay.
Well, because a lot of these companies don't want you using apps, third-party apps. They don't want you. They want to hide transparency. They don't want you having an app that shows you the transparency that they're supposed to show you. That's the other problem, is that by this they're supposed to show you this. So number 4 and 5 kind of I'll put together is right. 4 is right to work when you want. 5 is right to work where you want. So 4 would be flex, something that the new proposal is trying to take away or will because of unions and W-2 and franchise model. And it will also take away 5, the right to work where you want.
But 4 and 5, most apps you can do already. You can turn on most apps already.
Right.
Wherever you want. Whenever you want.
But because here's what I have. The flex, right. But they're about to pull it. So the flex time, yes. I do question the where, because if now they're doing upfront pricing, but it took them 14 years. So let's go back 2 months. And where you want? No, because you don't always know where you're going.
Well, no, I'm saying like where you want, as in the location of what, not exactly pick up and drop off locations,
right?
Or not drop off. Let's say not drop off locations, because you can tell where your pickup is every time. Even if they didn't show you, if they only showed you a dot on the map, you would know where the pickup is at. So I'm saying you can work, like I want to work Oklahoma City. I know I want to work Oklahoma City. So I can say I'm going to go online with Uber in Oklahoma City.
Right.
Now you are correct. It is kind of iffy, because if they send me a ride and they don't tell me, the exact drop off, it might be taking me to Stillwater, which I don't want to work in Stillwater.
Right. Or maybe you have a gig on the east end of Oklahoma City at 1 p.m. and they're sending you, everything's going over to West Oklahoma City. And you're like, no, because if I was in control, I would just be staying here east, because this is an important job I'm doing at 1.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So
that's what I say. I think that's about a 50-50 there, really, on that. It's kind of yes and no.
6 is a brutal nail in the coffin, though. Right to advertise. You have the right to, and this relates to me, Instacart and Dumpling, by the way.
Well, every gig app,
right. But Right. Yeah. But we know rideshare drivers who do it too. But you have the right to act and advertise for yourself. Market your private services by printing business cards, brochures, and handouts. Advertise in freelance job boards, online platforms for freelancers. Advertise in classified ads. Also, you are allowed to advertise while you're working. So if you're working for a client, you are allowed to advertise.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that client was fished to you by somebody else. Doesn't that become a huge problem? Because if Uber gives you a lead, you can steal it from them legally.
Yeah.
I've always thought that was a dumb thing in the terms of service. I get that Uber is trying to protect and keep all their business too, but at the same time, I think everybody should be able to get their own clients, whether it's through an app or not. You know, if you do an airport ride and the guy says, "Oh yeah, I fly out every Monday," or I come back, fly out on Monday, come back on Friday, you should be able to right then and there advertise, "Hey, I'm here all the time. I can do this for you."
Yeah.
Without the risk of being deactivated.
Well,
Tom, do we have a radio break?
then we got a couple more minutes.
Okay. So, right to receive payment. Employees typically get paid on a set schedule, like weekly or monthly, normally get paid by a check, which includes deductions for the employee's contributions and Social Security and Medicare. Independent contractor agreement specifies your right to receive payment and deadlines. That's why it's important to use a contract that clearly states how much and when, all that, whatnot. Again, I was bringing this back around to the whole client thing, where the client, this gets me really a little cloudy, not confused, but I've always liked to think that the person in my car is my client, but I'm now starting to wonder, is it Uber? Because I feel like Uber is my client every time that I'm doing rideshare, let's say with Uber. Because really, yeah, I have a very short window of time to contact that client while I have them in the car and a few minutes after, and there's a couple of ways to do it, but really, I don't. I mean, if everything will go through Uber. So why is Uber middlemaning my communications with my client?
Yeah, especially since they're only supposed to be a payment processor.
Or a tech company, or an SaaS, or whatever they try.
Right.
They
Whatever
just did all that
off
to get, to stop from being sued. But my point is like this submitted invoice and stuff. We're not doing any of this, and obviously, at this point, I do want to say that I don't think that because of this we're screwed kind of thing. But I do think it's time to start making a gig workers version of this,
right?
Because that's part of the problem. Is that we work off this, and this is meant for people who, are not working gig apps and built their own self-employed freelance or whatever businesses. So we need with technology moving so quick, there needs to be a change. And as much as I hate legislation, things like that, I think the change just needs to be like a digital version of this, for the gig apps. What are we going to do? But the right to employ other contractors. This is a big one too. Employees show up for work and follow the boss's direction. A contractor sometimes contracts with others to perform some of the duties. When a client hires you, the option exists to hire other contractors to do some work, like a general contractor paying subcontractors to do some of the work on a contract project.
Right.
Okay, so I can let everybody work my vehicle?
Yes. Yeah. Let's put a pin in that. We're going to come back to that one. I want to pick back up on that. You're listening to TNCRadio.live Friday night. Friday night, that's Driver Nation right here on TNCRadio.live. I'm Tom. He's Steve. He's Gary. And she's Rideshare Lisa, but she's not actually here tonight. So TNCRadio.live. Stay right there.
Hey, Hannibal, what's up? And what's up, Rick? And I see Joe's comment here. Uber is your client, and the customers are Uber's clients. See, this is where my head is starting to bounce around a little bit too, and I know better. I mean, it should be that the person I'm driving is my client, because in the end, Uber basically. And again, when we finish this, we have to talk about at least the headline stories for Uber, because there's a lot, and they're getting sued all over the place for new things now, or not new, but new cities, big suits.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago's taking them to town. Where else? Australia had a $14 million suit. Chicago 10.
But it's Australian money. It's Australian money, so it's only like 150.
No, that was the too American.
It was
But there's a good reason why it's so much, though. They actually did something horrible.
What, Uber?
Yeah, Uber.
In getting themselves established in Australia, they did something horrible?
Yeah. No, I mean really horrible. You guys are gonna.
They're in Australia though.
They've never done anything horrible.
Uber's in Australia.
Yeah.
But
Right,
what
that's what I said. That's what I
they
said.
did something horrible to get there, is what he's saying.
Oh yeah, they did it there just like they did here. They just opened.
Right, but this is when we get to it, you guys will see. This is different. This is something that they really screwed up, or not screwed up. You can tell it's an Uber move. You'll know.
Right. Well, I know that I think it was Australia that made them pay a huge fine.
Yeah,
all right.
$14 million.
Yeah.
We have a caller coming in. We're not back on the radio yet, but hello, caller. Are you there, caller?
Hi.
There she is.
There she is.
Lisa.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
What's up, Lisa?
For you to go to commercial break before I call.
Oh,
yes,
thank
Lisa.
you. Okay. Yep. We're going to come back from commercial break here in about 20 seconds, and I'll introduce you. So here we go in 15 seconds. I was just about to shut down the phone line, too. Like nobody calling in. What's money here?
Yeah, and you guys listen to this, because this is how easy it is to call in.
Welcome back in TNCRadio.live, Driver Nation on a Friday night. I'm Tom, he's Steve, he's Gary, and she is Lisa. Hey, Rideshare Lisa.
Hey.
How are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm having a great week, making some money.
Well, that's good.
You know.
Hey, I need to get a quote from you. Tell me what you think about Gary's apps.
Oh my God. I love Gary's app. I love Maximo. I will not do Rideshare without it. It's a lifesaver, and it helps me make money instead of losing money, because I know what I'm making per mile, per minute on every ride I take.
There you go. Perfect. And I'm going to clip that out and use that as part of our ad for Gary's apps. So there you go.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Very, very cool stuff. And
he's not even paying me to say it.
No, he's not, because he gave you the right app and you swear by it, because that's what works. You also found that it was pretty easy to dial in. You just dialed the phone number, right? It wasn't very hard to call in, was it?
No,
I don't think people realize that.
Yeah, it's just like calling a friend. You just dial up the number and we pick up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think people watch too many live streams, though, and always think, oh, that's going to bring me into the stream somehow.
No.
Your phone can't bring you into the stream.
Not until I bring you in. And, I'll see a little thing jump up and say, I've got a caller, and then I can add you or not. And as Lisa saw, Lisa put in here, Lisa to say hi. And I see
Absolutely.
who called and where they called from and all that kind of good stuff. It's a great app. A little pricey. I'll be honest with you guys. It cost me money to sit here and nobody calling. So that always kind of ticks me off. It's like,
okay, you need people to call.
Yeah. 2-hour show, I go through about $10. So,
Call.
Yeah. Give me a call.
Yeah, I realized about a little bit over an hour in, we didn't have the banner going at the bottom, so I started the banner too.
Yeah, that's why I started mentioning it earlier too.
Oh,
so,
yeah,
Lisa, you're driving in New York. Are you out working tonight?
I am. I just got finished. I just finished that. I was shopping. I had to shop.
Very cool.
And I was listening to Steve. Well, obviously, I was listening to Steve. And Steve makes a good point. And with Dumpling, it is actually the only app that you control what you make, what you want to do, how you work with your clients. It's just absolutely yours. And but the only thing is with Uber, sometimes I kind of feel that I'm in charge of them and I take care of them. I actually had tonight. I picked up a girl, and she was kissing her boyfriend goodbye, and then letting me know that she was on her way to work because her building is on fire. That's why she was saying goodbye to her boyfriend, because he'd wait for the fire department. So she left her food at home. Obviously, couldn't go back in because of the smoke and everything. So I took her down to the closest restaurant, got her something to eat so she could take to work. So I mean, I feel I make sure my car and everything is in good working shape for my customers. So I feel like when they're in my car, I'm in charge. I'm here to take care of them.
Absolutely.
And I feel like, Lisa, I'm going to go a step farther and say, if something happens, knock wood, but if something were to happen to you while you're taking those people in your car, Uber's not going to like fly in some people to help you. You're on your own.
No,
I mean, they and your insurance will help with the money, but you have to deal with it.
Right.
I mean, a W-2 company would not make you deal with it. They would send somebody over. They would deal with it.
That's why I'm hoping. They said they were going to work on getting Rideshare on the Dumpling app, because I would appreciate that a lot, because I have been doing a lot of Rideshare and I do enjoy it. Like when I'm picking up the students over at the college, I make sure that they get to where they need to be safe, because, you hear about how creepy drivers are and stuff. So I make sure that, I take care of them as if how their parents would want them to be taken care of when they're in my car, making sure they're wearing their seatbelts and making sure that everything's okay, and, talking to them and, letting them know I'm just not a driver. I'm a person that they can talk to and, just communicate with, no matter if it's 5 minutes, 25 minutes. Just,
let's.
I love the one-on-one with customers.
Yeah, we've all had that, and Steve, more than any of us, of course. We've all had those bartender moments where somebody's like giving us their life story and telling us, man, this thing's really going awful for me and all this. I have on more than one occasion had riders who at the end have asked to pray with me at the end of the ride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, people don't get that. These few minutes can be life-changing for some people.
And I want to say to you, Lisa, that so Joel, I know Joel at Dumpling. Joel told, I think that they did beta test Rideshare in LA, but what he ended up telling me was just do it and just call and let us know, and you can still use the card you can use your Dumpling profile to do Rideshare right now if you have a client. Just like everything else, you can just arrange it.
Does their insurance cover that too?
Well, that's why he said, I'm gonna be more straight up than the apps with you. You carrying insurance? The correct one?
The correct one?
Yeah, because again, dude, Dumpling takes 5%. That's it. There's no hidden charges. They're not taking 70% and giving you 30%. They take 5%, and that's it on the grocery total or the service total. Nothing on the after the tips or anything like that. Just the total of whatever you're doing, and they don't upcharge anything, but they only take 5%, and they're processing it for you, and they're fronting you all the money on the card to be able to just use the Dumpling card.
Yeah, Dumpling's truly a collection, whatever you want to call them, a pass-through. That they are truly that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, It really, and I don't, I want the other apps to be declared independent contractor apps, and I want that win to happen. But Dumpling is truly, you can't even argue it. It is an independent contractor app. I mean, they like we were talking about, they have Dumpling University, and they got all kinds of stuff and Skype sessions and all kinds of things where you can learn a lot, but you are in the end on your own.
Yep.
So you're not being fed, and you're not being fed crappy, non-transparent orders either. So.
Yep.
And in fact, Lisa, when you said you can set your own rates, in my head, I was thinking you have to set your own rates. You don't have a choice. This is your business. They have suggestions, but
you can set them how you want them.
Right.
You can you hear me?
Yep.
We can hear you.
Oh, I thought my headset died. I'm sorry. I heard. I keep hearing this noise, so I was thinking my headset died.
Yeah, you keep hearing the ding, 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 or whatever the plug, like a USB's plugging into the computer.
That was me. Sorry about that. Keep going.
Oh, okay. When I do rideshare with Dumpling, what I'm planning on doing is going to my insurance company and get commercial insurance, because I think having commercial insurance, I do have the rideshare endorsement, but I do have that for Uber and Lyft, and I'm going to talk to them about it. But I think having commercial insurance, which they said wasn't too much more, would be more beneficial for me, because I think it will cover everything in my car with Dumpling. When I'm shopping, I have people in my car. I'm running errands for people. I mean, I've told people that I can take them to the drugstore. I can pick things up at the drugstore for them. So, like older people that I've seen on the Spark app and stuff, and they don't have cars, and that's why they do it, but they don't have a way to get their prescriptions and stuff like that. I told them that, I can do that. I can run to the store and get it for you and bring it to you. So I was thinking about just getting commercial insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but don't just be careful, Lisa. Don't just go get the big commercial insurance, because even Buckle, I happen to be wearing it today. Well, even Buckle will tell you that they will upsell you policies you do not need.
Right. That's what I was going to say too, Steve, is I know a lot of people that go out and they get these commercial policies, but they're getting the biggest one they can get when they're only taking like one private ride a week or a month or whatever. They really need something smaller. Or
it's like Marty, the CEO of Buckle, put it, like you only need, as gig workers, he's like, all the aspects I've looked at, he said that you're only going to optimize about 5% of a full commercial policy, so only pay for 5%. I mean, well, and that's what Buckle does.
Well, wait, now remind me, I'd have to go look up Buckle, because I'm not. Is that the one that only covers you the moment that you have someone in your car? Because there's one that you can do that.
Buckle can be your personal insurance.
No. I'm saying, you know what I'm talking about. There's one that you can get that you only pay whenever you have somebody in your car. I forget the name. We talked about it once on the round table. I would have to go look it up again, but there's one that you can pay per use. So you only pay whenever you actually have somebody in your car.
The only thing that came to mind when you said that was Atlanta Delivers, how you can pay for an hourly insurance.
Well, no, that's the segment I'm talking about. But we found one in the U.S. though that does the same exact thing, and so I would have to go look it up. But that's hers.
But over in England, that was weird.
Right.
That was a learning experience, that they have an app for insurance, and you turn it on and off when you need it. So. You're only paying for exactly when you need it.
See, I wish that was the case here too, because like there's some days that one of my cars never leaves the driveway for like months, and I still got to pay. So I wish that was the case here. Like I only had to pay when the car moved. That would be
right.
Great.
Or even like, dude, if it's literally like that, what if like for 2 hours in the morning you're slammed with the morning commute, and then you have a dead hour and a half? You could turn it off.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to pay for this. Like,
yeah. Permanent insurance.
And then there's got to be a way for Gary to create an app that lets that somehow like ties to that hourly insurance so you don't have to tap it and lets it know when you're being active on one.
Oh, I would definitely do that.
Yeah, there you
100%. 100%.
The
Saving
last
money.
two of the 10, and
Hurry
then
For new app.
that I want to say is so the right to challenge your employment status. We obviously all know that, but again, that's not true for us because we can't go to arbitration. We can't. They've made it so that we can't do anything. We can't fight them. Or they've made it like Gary said you could, but like they've made it so hard nobody can afford it.
Yeah, you have to opt out of arbitration if you want to sue.
And people don't even know to do that in the first place.
Sometimes arbitration is not bad for things like deactivations and stuff like that. I don't see anything wrong with arbitration for that because it's something that they already pay for. It doesn't come out of the driver's pocket. So arbitration for deactivations, it's a pretty simple thing. Bigger things though, I think there should always be some part of the contract that states for certain things, arbitration, for other things has to be taken to court.
Mm-hmm. And then the last one is right to manage your own business. Independent contractors run their own businesses. You manage all aspects of your business. As a self-employed business person, you maintain the responsibility to provide your own benefits.
But I don't know. To me, we don't. We have the ability to run our own business, but we don't actually run our own business.
Exactly.
If that makes sense.
Well, but that's part of why Uber gets some money from me.
Right. Exactly. That's why they get their cut is because they take care of the insurance. They take care of all the legal stuff, things like that. That's why they get some money from us.
Yeah, I don't have to build a relationship with a particular bank or whatever. They've got all they can. And there's a lot of things that Uber does that I'm happy for them to do it. I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so there's certain services that are provided by the middleman that I don't have a problem with that I think can get kind of cloudy on some of these, Steve. But I think you can also say, yeah, well, if Uber didn't do that, I mean, that's why I use their app as opposed to not using any app and just kind of driving around like a taxi cab. What do you call those cabs that just pick up anybody? The
yellow cabs.
No.
Autonomous.
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
But let me just run through what happened this week alone to Uber. So in the city of Chicago, Uber now it's done. They have to pay $10 million. And that's for listing restaurants that not only weren't approached, they were approached and said they didn't want to be part of the program, and Uber put them on anyway.
Oh, gosh.
What the heck? Like they go and have meetings with these restaurants and they're like, no, we don't want to be on that platform. And they're like, well, screw it. We'll just put you on it and we'll keep the fee then.
Well, that's how all of them started those as far as food delivery.
Right, but we're 14 years in and things
Right.
are being questioned very heavily right now everywhere,
Right.
including Chicago. What are you doing?
Well,
So
no, I was just pointing at that fact
Yeah.
out that that's how they all started.
And now
Not
and
that they
then
should be.
and then the Australian one is really bad. So Tom, you were talking about Australian money to Americans. So the Australian federal court has fined Uber Australian 21 million, so it's 14 million US for engaging in misleading and deceptive conduct. Uber did so in two ways, one of which involved the offer it made in some parts of Australia to arrange rides in ye old licensed taxis. They found that the Uber app and website displayed a likely price for taxi rides, but overestimated every fare.
Right.
To make it so that you'd pick Uber instead.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty brazen.
I mean, we're talking fraud. We're talking.
Yeah. That's fraud.
I mean, you can find so many things that they're doing wrong here.
And we got to remember in Australia and New Zealand and stuff, all the gig apps down there, they are regulated. They're regulated. They have laws they got to buy. All the drivers got to have like special, I believe, licenses or permits or something, and things like that. So,
yeah.
DoorDash did that a while back too.
So over in England, Uber has been forced to raise its prices following a drop in the number of drivers, is what they're claiming. Uber is finally raising these prices, and we keep hearing this, but I'm starting to believe that there is a lack of drivers. I'm starting to believe that churn rate's down. And
well, I know from the time me and you started driving, Steve, everybody I know that started from then till now, they no longer do rideshare.
right.
Like me and you, we don't do rideshare.
I mean, we know Rideshare Road Warrior Rick, Dark Road Run. We do know some people who have been in it since 2015.
Well, no, I'm saying me personally, the people I knew
Right.
that I used to do in my city and things like that. Like none of them do rideshare anymore. They all switch over to package delivery or food delivery, something that actually pays more at the time without surges and things like that. But just the standard pay, they all do better gigs.
Right. But so they brought our pay way down, and now they're charging more, which they should have been doing for a long time. And then the last actually there was one on RoboTaxi, but we won't even go there. But the last one is Uber's facial recognition locking Indian drivers out of their accounts because the Microsoft facial recognition runs at 62% efficiency. Nighttime, people of color and women all are about a 50-50 shot.
Good grief.
So why are you even using it? If you know it's 62, if you know it's a D-, a hard D-, why are you using it?
And see, here's the thing. Like we know the facial recognition software doesn't work worth a crap.
Yeah.
Like they need a better way of doing it. Like Lyft always makes me scan my stupid driver's license.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look at I don't know if Samsung's doing it yet, but iPhone, you lift it, it gets you, and if anybody else lifts it, it doesn't let you in.
No. Well, I mean,
maybe
Apple's
Kevin Bacon, but
Kevin Bacon maybe.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon is the only one.
You should print off a picture, a high def picture of him, and see if it'll unlock with your iPhone.
There you go. Hey, we got to take our final break of the evening. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. You're listening to TNCRadio.live. This is Driver Nation, talking all things gig economy. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. All right. 2.5 minutes in this break. You see it, don't you, Lisa? You see the resemblance between Steve and Kevin Bacon?
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Put it up again, Tom. I'm telling you, what Tom hadn't even. Gary knows this. We did not talk about this first. Tom didn't say anything. As soon as he even kind of hinted where he was going, I knew exactly what was happening because it's happened to me. And I never even told him it has happened to me before. He just did this all on his own and brought it in today. And I was like, oh, God.
Okay, share screen, and screen one.
Calm down there, Steve. I got it. You like see that, Lisa? Lisa.
Yeah.
I mean, less hair on top, but yeah.
Yeah, and maybe a couple different pictures too. But
it's they're especially if you watch that new Galaxy Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. Yeah, you're going to see Steve all over that, just all over it.
Well, how about the next time that we do the show or you do the show? Why don't you do that? Have that picture, and then put on a headset.
Yeah,
penciling a headset on his ears.
Yeah, no, I'll find a couple better pictures over time.
I'm sure there's ones of headsets.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's got headsets when he's on set.
So when I was a lot younger, guess who people told me I looked like? When I was younger, 100 pounds lighter. No, when I was a lot younger, people thought I looked like Chuck Norris. I even got chased down the hallway in a hotel in Washington, D.C. by a maid going, "I know you're Chuck Norris. I know you're Chuck Norris."
They're used to celebrities going, no, I'm not. Even the celebrities say, no, they're not. You're this person, and they are, and they're like, no, I'm not.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna look like I'm a double.
I just have that face. Just have that face.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what they say, Rick.
Time we ever see Steve though is with headset on, except for Saturday. Saturday he doesn't have a headset on.
Yeah, put it back on.
I think he sleeps with the thing on.
Oh, Ceci sees it. Ceci sees it, Tom.
Yeah, good. Yeah. All right, here we go. Coming back in. Oh, what do we got here?
And when we're done, guys, I gotta bounce to get Max.
Yeah.
He's in a sketchy part of town.
Well, so am I when I'm on with you. So
you left your 15-year-old in a sketchy part of town?
He works in one. He's a lifeguard, remember? And it's nighttime and it's over there. So
a lifeguard.
I've drove him all around today. Normally he takes his bike everywhere, but I had to help him out today.
All right, coming back 15 seconds.
It's too cold here for a lifeguard.
Steve, I'm going to bounce to you first. Talk about Rideshare Rodeo. So be ready. I like how all the people on YouTube get to see how the sausage is made for radio stuff here. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back in TNCRadio.live. It's Friday night. We're live. And we're talking all things rideshare, gig economy, all that kind of good stuff. Talking with Steve from Rideshare Rodeo. Steve, tell us, what have you been doing on Rideshare Rodeo recently, and what's been going on with your YouTube, all that kind of good stuff? What should people be looking for?
So, this driverrights.org thing is a big deal. I've been doing a lot of work with that. Doing a lot of the...
I'm going to have to stop you there, Steve. You're going to need a script, buddy. I mean, Gary's got this down. He's got, boom, boom, boom. It's all right. Boom, boom.
All right, give me till next Friday. Watch this.
Okay.
I'm gonna nail this thing.
Okay. All right. Well, keep tripping through.
Let's what? Till next week. I don't do anything. I don't even know who I am. Guys, listen, you know what? I just dropped the 180th audio podcast today.
Fantastic.
So, I'm coming up on 200, which is a really big deal, you guys.
Yes.
I've never missed. I know I'm doing a Friday drop. I do some extra Friday ones sometimes of the roundtables from Thursday on the YouTube channel to audio. But on Tuesday, that is a dedicated drop, and I've never missed one since the day I started.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now on YouTube, though, also you're going back and you're actually taking some very important clips out of other things we've done in the past, because we've been doing the roundtable for almost a year. I think we're a couple months shy of that, but you've been going back and taking some very important things that we've talked about and clipping them out and reposting them so people can find them quicker as well.
Also because it's just the segments like you told me to do 6 months ago, and I was like, Gary, I'm not going to do that.
Right. Yeah. No, he never listens to me.
No, I do, but now I'm because it's a lot of it's a lot of work. Those are they're long. I mean, I was thinking I want to do a best of Sunday for the holidays,
right?
But Sunday fun day, but some of those are 5-6 hours.
They're very long. Yeah, that's what I said.
But I wanted which one was I really wanting? And I was like, I don't even know where that is. I was trying to, when the Match.com commercial. We don't get paid until you get laid during the pandemic. Yeah. Oh my God, dude. That was one of the funniest things ever. And big actors are in that commercial. They're doing this whole dance and singing and it's we don't get paid until you get laid.
I mean,
I was like, I don't know if you can say that.
You didn't forget it, so it worked.
You can't say
right,
that.
But you know what the problem is they do get paid whether you get laid or not.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
What's funny is this comment came up right as you said that.
That is funny. Okay, so Steve, what's the next thing you're dropping?
Tomorrow, 13 minutes of news. It's actually getting bigger and bigger and bigger. People like it.
But still only 13 minutes.
13 minutes of news in 13 minutes or less.
Okay. So it's
Now-
not
I've never gone over.
popular, but it's not getting bigger.
No. Right. Yeah. More
Right.
popular though.
All right. So we're not doing 13 minutes of news in 28 minutes.
Right. No.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not Uber. I'm not lying. to you.
Now, somebody called you out for that not too long ago because you're supposed to be 13-minute news in 13 minutes, but yet you wasn't doing 13 minutes of news. So does that include the intro and outro?
I guess it has to. I've just been trying to make it quick because there's no other way to do it, right? I mean, like I'll also tell you that don't know people that don't know at 8 minutes or longer on YouTube, if you monetize it, it will put commercials in the middle, and I will never allow that to happen on that because I need it to stay 13 minutes. So I don't even want to stop. So that one, I literally take that out and say no. It's got to run this 13 minutes or less.
I just remember somebody called you out for that one time.
Yeah, it was. I know it was even. I know who it was. It was Brandon Diaz, and he said, well, what about when you're like plugging some? What about when you plug Gary's apps or something in the beginning, like, and then it's a minute and a half in, and then you say, let's get into it. In that 11 and a half minutes, like, but I responded with, yeah, it's 13 minutes of news in 13 minutes or less.
Right.
So you still got it in 13 minutes or less.
That's right. Okay, guys. Real quick, just on what's going on with TNCRadio.live. Got a brand new show started last week. We're really excited about that, called Highway Fever with Charlie Claiborne, the president of the NADRA, the North America Driver Resource Association. Fantastic guy, really well educated, and really plugged in to a lot of different politicians, especially in the world of trucking and gig economy kinds of things. And he's a good person. Steve, one of these days I'm going to get you and Charlie together, because he's somebody who you would love to interview and get his take on some things from a trucker perspective. And we're also going to have one of the guys from Mind Your Trucking Business going to be joining us here, if not next week, then right after the first of the year, doing one of the shows with us here on a Friday night. Steve, this you'll probably find this impressive. We just recorded the 500th episode of the Truckers Network radio show, a daily show that we do Monday through Friday that we started about 2 years ago. And so taking out, for weekends and holidays and those kinds of things, we're right at 500 episodes, just recorded that earlier this week. So we're excited about that. 500 episodes of one show. And so that's pretty good, huh?
It's great.
Yeah.
Great, yeah.
Lots of different people on that. If you hear some of our commercials and so forth that we've been playing, we have one that plays out a bunch of the different people that we've talked to, like Mario Andretti and just a whole cast of characters. So isn't that funny how you get ready to say that, and all of a sudden, like, every single name that I know there, John Schneider, all these names just disappeared instantly out of my head. But so we're having a good time. Things are going really well on the station, and got some new things coming up after the first of the year that I think are going to be pretty exciting. And right after the first of the year, we're going to start giving away money again. So that'll be $1,000 a day possibility.
Can I have some money? I like money.
Well, hey, all you got to do is put your name in. You're certainly welcome to put your name in. Hopefully everybody will be listening in, getting the daily keywords, putting their information in. And, we gave away $3,000 in the last round. So we're ready to go.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. So we've got about a minute left. Let's kind of go around the table here real quick. Lisa, what's up with you? Last words.
Oh, just working, everything else. I've been on my Discord. I have a Discord, and I've been doing a lot of work with that. And I have a community hangout in my Discord for people that anybody can just jump in and hang out with us while we work. If anybody has any questions why they work, they can come into the community hangout, because there's a bunch of us. And apparently any app that you have a question with, somebody in that chat can have the answer to. Very cool. We just work with each other while we work all day.
So Lisa, let me ask you this. Coming up in 2023, are we going to start seeing some more YouTube videos from you?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Wow, that was a long
Okay. Yeah,
delay.
Pause, dramatic pause, but the answer was yes. Gary, last words from you. We've got less than a minute.
GaryZapps.com, GaryZapps.com, GaryZapps.com.
That's how you say it. GaryZapps.com. All right. And Steve, you get the last word here, sir.
GaryZapps.com.
GaryZapps.com. All right. Hey, thank you all for listening. If you're not quite sure, you're listening to us, and I want to check out that Rideshare Rodeo. How do I do that? Hey, listen, just stay on for the next couple of hours. We're going to play a couple of them back to back. A little bit older ones, but they're still full of great information, gives you an idea of what Steve does, and then maybe you'll be inspired to bounce over and get more of his more recent content. So all that right here on TNCRadio.live. Stay tuned.
Good night, guys.
All right, we're out.
Night.